Hello, everyone.
Hi,
Welcome.
yes. Hi, everybody. We're here for episode number 30. And so, thank you so much for joining us and for finding your way here. We love doing these live presentations of the emotion code. And so, if you are one of those people, or maybe you know somebody who's having some difficulties with a relationship, and who doesn't, right? And so that could be with your kids, with your significant other, with your family members. Then that could be your mother, your grandmother, the neighbor next door, coworkers. That's another big one. Or I know Amber was just saying that the kids in her area have actually gone to school today, so yay. But sometimes it's issues with people, other kids' parents, the teachers, who knows. So thank you for joining us. I'm Holly Pitas, an emotion code and soon to be body code practitioner, with my esteemed colleague Amber.
Hi, guys, and welcome. I'm Amber Salambier of Knots Inside Within, and I'm a certified emotion code and body code practitioner. And we are here to help you release your emotions using the emotion code system, so that you can start looking at people in your life in a different aspect. So, what is the emotion code, and what is it that we're doing? Well, the emotion code was created by Dr. Bradley Nelson. He is a retired holistic chiropractor that, as he was seeing patients, realized that everybody, all of these aches and pains that people were seeing him from, at the root of them all were emotions, right? When we look back at our life, if we were to take a moment and look back, how many negative emotions have we gone through? Frustration, um, indecisiveness, taken for granted. May have felt vulnerable at some point. May have felt betrayal or anxiety. All of these emotions we don't normally process. We usually just kind of push them down. And so when we're going through an experience and we push these emotions down, or even just day to day life, they get trapped within our energy field and then they create blockages. So now they've created this blockage between, say, you're having issues, with your sister, and you've had a lifetime of experiences with your sister, and it's just negative emotion after negative emotion. So it builds this blockage between you, and you can imagine this space between you of just a bunch of emotions. And so what we do is we tap into your energy field and essentially have a conversation with your subconscious, asking yes or no questions of any question that can arise. So we don't go in. I'm not going to go in and find out personal information, because one, I can't do that. Like, physically, I can't do that. I'm not that talented. But I ask yes or no questions. Are there some sort of blockage between, you and your sister that are caused by emotions? Yes. Is it some sort of energy? So you could have some sort of negative energy or emotion or imbalance, or even a belief that is causing this rift between you and your sister. So we tap into that energy and just start, you know, digging away at it, bringing it up, releasing it, and allowing you to be and look at your sister in a different way. Now, we're not changing the relationship on your sister's end, but we're changing how you now perceive her, right? So every thought, every emotion, they're all anchored in. Usually thoughts are anchored in by emotions. So when we think something like, oh, my sister is just a horrible person, well, you just felt a negative emotion, right? That's kind of, maybe judgment, maybe bitterness. You're feeling an emotion when you're thinking that or when you're saying that. So that's anchoring that in, which means it's going to not be able to go away.
Y-
So,
Amber, as you were talking, what it reminded me of when you were talking about it doesn't actually change the dynamics of, doesn't change the relationship at all, really, but it changes sort of how you relate to the relationship. And the idea that came to my head was shoes. And so, if you have a pair of shoes that pinch you, you are aware of those shoes when you're wearing them. It's like, ooh, this is pinching me. Ooh, this is pinching me. And so it's the using the emotion code is almost like getting your shoes stretched out. That it's like it's the same pair of shoes, but now the pinch is just removed and it fits a lot more comfortable. You don't have that your own sort of knee-jerk emotional response to whatever is going on with the relationship. It's just sort of like smooth sailing. And it's really hard to describe unless you have experienced it. Once you experience it, you're like, oh, this is cool. But so that's why we always look for a volunteer. And so we are talking again about relationships today. And so I think it's probably in the comments, but if you could, number one, say hello to us, because I know there's some people that we can see that are watching us online, but you haven't actually said hello. So come on out and don't be bashful, because we love having you here with us. And then in the comments, we're going to ask that you would just give your permission. So in order to volunteer, just say yes. And you could say you're having a relationship issue with someone. If you want to name the person, that's fine. Or otherwise, you could even just say, I have this issue, and then give us a severity level if it's on a scale of 1 to 10. So maybe this is a person you're in contact with all the time, or it bothers you to the level of a 10, or maybe just the level of 4. We like having a place to start. So once we identify where we start, we can track our progress. And Amber and I also work on many other things with the emotion code. It's really incredibly adaptable to almost every situation you have in your life. And when we do our episodes on like removing pain or removing a food addiction, it's very distinctive that, you had the pain in your shoulder and now it's just gone. Or you were slamming diet sodas and now suddenly they're just not interesting to you any longer. You're just not attracted to them. So sometimes determining these changes with relationships it's not as distinctive originally, because you're so used to the habit of saying, oh, my sister's on the phone again. And what you realize is that she's just like, oh, well, my sister's on the phone. Oh yeah, she's calling about that issue that she always talks about. Well, okay, and you just don't have that strong reaction. So give us a volunteer. I am not seeing anybody on my side, but what about you, Amber?
Natika is saying, hey. Lauren says, hey, ladies. Nikki is saying, morning, ladies. Hello from Leanne. Dawn is saying, hello, ladies. Sandra would like to work on her relationship with her son, Scott. Natika is saying, yes, I give permission. I have an issue in my love life, and a discomfort level would be 7 to 8. Nikki has said, I was meant to catch this one. I volunteer, and it has to do with a relationship. It's at a 10. So we have lots of volunteers today, which is fantastic. Hi, Judy. So you don't need to be specific. Really, you just have to think of the person. So when we connect to your energy, just think of that person as to, your relationship with them. And by us connecting to your energy and asking your conscious mind, that they're thinking about something and what emotions can we release, then that works as too. So we don't necessarily need to know. It's the same goes for, if you've had a traumatic experience in your life. I don't need to know the details. Neither of us need to know. We don't want you to experience that again or to have to vocalize that. We can go in and release whatever is coming up around that memory, and all of the anchors that are coming in, so that it kind of goes into the background and you don't ever think about it again. And how do you know you have a blockage is one of the questions that I get asked all of the time. And I say, well, if you're being triggered, so first of all, if you have any physical symptoms, any physical aches and pains, or, anything really, chances are there's a blockage there. Or if you're being triggered. So if if you feel that instant reaction to something or someone, then chances are you have some sort of blockage towards that, or some sort of emotional attachment or energy attachment to it.
Okay,
We've got. Do you want to start at the top then?
so can I start with Nikita?
Mhm.
And
Natika.
so Natika,
Yeah.
Natika. And so Natika, it has a relationship issue, and she said it's about a 7. Is that, am
7
I
to
right?
8, yep.
Okay.
She has an issue in her love life.
Okay. I am going. I'm working on Natika. So, and
Okay.
then
Are you going to do it loud or are you going to do it quiet? Because I'll do the opposite.
I could do it loud if you want
Okay.
to.
Okay.
I wasn't sure if you were going to read more comments or not, but
I have Laura who gets permission. She has issues with her relationship with herself and self-worth. Discomfort is at a 6. So I'm going to, I'll start with Nikki and release whatever's that. So if you want to do it loud, I'll do it quietly in my head over here.
okay. So Natika. All right, Natika. So I have connected to you with you. I am using what we call the drawbridge style. So I'm muscle testing. And so if I get a strong answer of a yes, my fingers lock. And if I get a no, it just goes right through. And so this is how I'm testing. And then additionally, as I'm asking these yes or no questions, I'm going to be referring to this chart of emotions. And so essentially I'll ask if there's an emotion and is it on the chart and where is it on the chart? And then I'll ask if we can release it. So, all right. So Natika has a relationship issue and this is causing some difficulties. So wondering if there are any emotions that are involved that we can release to help with the flow of this relationship and opening it up to greater love and understanding in the relationship. So, are there any emotions that we can release? Yes. Are they on the emotion code chart? Yes, they are. Is it in column A or column B? It's in column A. An even row or an odd row? It's an even row. Is it row 2, row 4? Row 6, row 2, 4, 6, row 2. So in row 2, the words there are anxiety, despair, disgust, nervousness, worry. So I'm getting an emotion of nervousness. And so now I want to know, is this something that is Natika's nervousness? Is this something that she got from someone else? It's something that you got from someone else. So is this something that is an absorbed emotion? Yes. Is this a recent absorbed emotion? Is it in the long ago past? No, it's a pretty recent emotion. So Natika, I don't know if this is ringing a bell for you. I'm wondering if this issue has just sort of presented itself in the recent past. But what we're going to do is ask about releasing this emotion and can we release this? And I'm getting a yes. So I'm going to release this emotion of nervousness. And I'm going to release any absorbed emotion of nervousness. And then additionally, sometimes you have like this energetic reverberation. So you maybe have been feeling an emotion for a while. It's sort of like when you clang a bell. And so it's the one clang, but then you hear the bell reverberating. So I'm going to release any type of vibrational resonance from this feeling of nervousness. All right. I'm just also going to release anything that's hidden. We're going to go for a hidden, absorbed. Okay. So now let's see. So before Natika was feeling this feeling of nervousness, and she said it was about a 7 or 8 before. Did we release it? And I'm getting a yes. And so it's a 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. So Natika, I'm getting that we have released this absorbed emotion. And so I'm hoping that you can drink a little bit of water, take a deep breath. And I hope whenever you have your next encounter with this loved one that you're going to feel that things are just a little bit freer freer flowing. All right, so I'm just wondering if there's anything more that we need to release for her at this time. There is. And so Nitika, does this relate to this love relationship? Yes. Is this in column A or column B? It's in column A. Is it even? Is it odd? It's even. Is it 2, 4, 6? 2. Okay. 2 is anxiety, despair, disgust, nervousness, worry. Is this the same nervousness as before? No, this is a different feeling of nervousness. This might be from a different event. So is this Nitika's? So this is a feeling that you have, Nitika. And so is this something that she absorbed? No. So this is her feeling. Is it hidden? Is it trapped? Could this be a heart wall? No. So it's just a hidden feeling. It's hidden, it's trapped. Okay, is it Nitika's? Yes. All right. So this time we're gonna release Nitika's feeling of nervousness. And so before we release something that you had absorbed from someone else, so that could have been, I don't know, just pretending maybe you had a fight or some sort of interaction and you got nervous because they were nervous and you kind of, took on their nervousness. And so that was one, but now here's where the layers come in with the emotion code. So now this is your feeling, Nitika, of nervousness. And so we're releasing that. And again, we're going to release your feeling of vibrational resonance from this and any type of compound event, which is when you have sort of two emotions that just sort of hit on top of each other, which could be the absorbed and yours. So we're releasing anything that is a compound. All right. And then we're also going to release, additionally, I'm also going to release effort unreceived. Okay. And then we're going to ask for some healing and an intention of love. And so, all right. So now let's just see, did we release that feeling of Nitika's nervousness? Yes, we did. So is she clear? Yes. Okay, so then can I disconnect? Yes. So my Holly, yes. So my Nitika, no. Okay, so Nitika, you should be good to go. I don't know if there's any chance for you to put another comment in. Sometimes people feel something, you get hot, you get cold. Some people cry, some people start laughing. It can be any kind of response. And then additionally, so sometimes people feel something right during the session. And then we also have the processing time, and that can take a couple of minutes, a couple of days. And so for some people, again, maybe you are just a little bit, you're crying, your tears are a little bit on edge, or maybe you're a little bit irritable. Sometimes that happens. Sometimes people can feel cool, or they get very tired. I think it's funny. Sometimes, certain times when I'm releasing some emotion, sometimes I'm yawning through the whole thing as my response to it. Sometimes I start sneezing, which is also really funny because it'll be like sneezing just, for this couple of minutes, and then all of a sudden it's done. And so I know it just has to do with something with these emotions. So I hope you're feeling good. And if you could put something in the comments, that would be terrific. Amber,
I'm usually I'm a hot mess when I do energy work. I'm yawning, I'm burping. It's just, I spend like 3/4 of my sessions, especially with one-on-one clients, I'm like this hot mess. And then, before I was fine, and after we're done, I'm perfectly fine. But it's a release of emotions, right? It's as we're releasing that energy, it triggers a response in us. So Nitika said to you, it is possible I get quite nervous. Wow, thank you so much. I feel something in my knees and the back and top of my head.
Wow, okay.
So I worked on Nikki with whatever person she was thinking of. She had a hidden unsupported that was cleared, inherited jealousy from her dad going back 4 generations. that was cleared, a vibrational resonance of shame. She had a trauma energy of feeling trapped. Um, she had a negative energy of feeling unsafe that was absorbed, that we released with anger, and a heart wall of depression with this person. So I was able to clear all of that. So let me know, Nikki, how you were feeling. And then I worked on Sandra, that she had some unsupported and some conflict. There was hidden anger. There was a vibrational resonance of shame. There was trauma energy of struggle, a heart wall of anger, and she was corded due to a confusion. So some of that stuff comes from the body code and from other modalities that I've picked up along the way. So I've released the cord, cleared the heart walls, and released whatever was going on between you guys. So
Yeah. So the heart walls, those are something really important. I have my little heart for Valentine's Day coming up. And that, that's an element that we have to sort of self-protect. And the challenge with that is not only do you wall things out, but you also wall things in. And people can have these heart walls. Some of them are just layered and layered and layered. And, a lot of times when, especially if you're with Valentine's Day, if we're talking about a love relationship or a crush or something like that, and, you can get your heart broken when you're 5 and somebody didn't want to play with you on the playground or something. And so you're like, oh, you have that kind of that initial foundation block. And then every time somebody says, no, I'm not going to ask you for this date, or, I'm going to like somebody else and not you, you have a tendency to just say, well, I don't know what to do with this emotion. I'm going to go put it right back on that foundational block. And suddenly you have all of these additives to making this wall so huge. And so then a lot of times, it doesn't serve us when we're adults and trying to be in an adult relationship, because it's, again, this knee-jerk reaction of like, well, that happened to me before and I'm not going to let that happen again. And it's actually just this reaction, as opposed to, trying to think through the situation and say, well, wait a minute, maybe there's another way to handle this, or maybe I'm not actually reacting to what's happening now. Maybe my reaction is coming from that time when I was 5 on the playground. And so the beauty of the emotion code system is that it, again, can just release those blocks. It's almost like they just crumble into sand. And so it's not this big, smashing it with a sledgehammer or anything. And you don't have to go through years on somebody's couch retelling a story and making these heavy duty appointments and things. It's so wonderful, especially with the pandemic, that we're able to work quickly by a video call and things are just released. And it's amazing because lots of times you think, well, I have to release just the one heart wall. It's like, well, no, there's probably more. Because there was the time when you were 5, and then there was a time when you were 5.5, and then the time that you were like 6, and so that it just all adds up. So that's one of the things that Amber and I both like to do. So Amber has her Knots Untied Within, and so everybody that's on the Facebook page right now, all about that. And so she offers some different programs. She also goes live. Recently, she's been going live a lot. I think it was almost every day last week with different groups. And so Amber's got some really special talents. And so that's really nice. I have my Get Feeling Better page on Facebook and also getfeelingbetter.com. So for both of us, you can book appointments online, and there's so much more that we can go into. This is really just the demonstration. I'm starting to call it demo day. And there was one of the house refurbishing shows on TV that they always talk about demo day, when they're going to demolish whatever the old house was so that they can rebuild it. And so I think Mondays are now demo day for me, because we're going to get rid of that old emotional baggage for you and let you start afresh.
Absolutely. So Lauren was saying, can you have more than one heart wall? And absolutely. I'll speak to my experience having my heart wall removed. I, came from years of trauma, years of abuse, years of stuff that my heart wall was, when I had my session with my practitioner, it was 7 feet thick of steel and 7 feet thick of aluminum. So I had multiples. So you could imagine around my heart that I had all of these walls put up as to how blocked off I was from the world. And again, I wasn't conscious of it. I just knew that I don't get emotionally attached to people, or I really struggle on an emotional level with people because, again, they were like 7 feet thick and there was multiples of them of steel and aluminum. And when she cleared my heart walls that day, I went, oh, okay, because I'm not somebody who can feel the energy moving. And I went, oh, okay, whatever, it didn't really make much sense to me. Fast forward, a couple of days as everything was integrating and processing. I came downstairs the one day and I went, hi. And everybody's like, what is wrong with you? And I'm like, I can just feel again. Like it was this big shift that opened me up, that I looked at everyone in my household with this different set of eyes. Nothing on a physical level had changed, but everything changed. I could look at my husband in a different way. I could look at my kids in a different way. And I went, huh, I probably should have had that done a long time ago. But again, divine timing, right? We're exactly where we're supposed to be, whenever we're supposed to be, and that's what I needed, which is how I got into doing the emotion code, because that one session completely changed my life. And as somebody who really struggled to find my way in energy work and everything to do with energy, it was the thing that I needed to go, this actually does work. And now I'm lighter and my relationships are better with people, and I'm not as blocked off as I thought we were, because I had created some huge invisible walls to protect myself in.
Yeah, and so actually there's 2 points I'd like to make on what you had just said, Amber, that, one, you said, that it was made of steel and something else. And so people are like, what is that? What does that mean? And it's like, again, we're dealing with our subconscious, we're dealing with the emotions, and we don't really know why our mind would imagine that that is what I want to build my fort out of. Is it could be steel, like I've heard about glass or wood or,
I've done somebody out of hay. I released somebody because she worked with horses, right? So it's something that is comfort to you that has a significant meaning to you. So for me, it was steel because I had been so hurt that that barricade was going up and nobody was coming in.
Mhm. Yes, and again, because we're dealing with the subconscious mind, it could be, something that you had in a dream or something that you saw in a movie, that's what that person was making their fortress out of. So again, your subconscious mind goes, what do I know that I can do? And it's like, steel, that's the thing, or hey, that's the thing. And then also you had talked about the time to release. And there are, again, because this is something that's supposed to be self-protective, sometimes we're not quite ready to let go of whatever that is. We might not feel unsafe, or we might think it's still unsafe to release it. And so sometimes it's almost like, you knock at the door and nobody answers. And it's like you knock at the door and nobody answers, and you knock at the door and then they answer. And it's like, okay, they were there the whole time, but they just didn't get to the door fast enough. So sometimes it's true with your emotions. They're like, yeah, I'd rather have you do that one first, and then you can come back to me. So that's why we ask that you keep coming back. And, if you can, book some sessions with us, or just watch for when we have some lives. And actually on my end, I got a hello from Christy, and she was looking to volunteer. She didn't have a chance to respond. So I don't know if that's because I'm not getting the response, but Christy, if you put a comment in there, I would be happy to work with you after our session here. I can just connect with you by messenger. And because I see that our time is ending. So we will be back next week, Monday, for demo day. And we're still
I can't believe that's what you're going to call it.
so so I love Amber because that just sort of came out, and so I didn't tell her beforehand, and it's like I didn't know I was going to actually say it out loud. And so she is always so good humored that she's like, okay, I'll just go along with it. So anyway, we will be back next week Monday, but you can always be in touch with us through our Facebook pages or our websites. And then, tell your friends. Amber has some great ideas about stuff coming up, and so you'll need a friend to do it with or to come and join you. And then also for the month of February, we're going to stay with relationships. So
They are. So I'm going live a couple times this week, actually. I'm going live Wednesday at 7 o'clock Eastern Standard Time right here on my page. So it's Not Sometime Within at 7 o'clock Eastern Time on Wednesday. And it's open house usually on Wednesday. So bring whatever issue that you've got and we pull up whatever comes to the table. And then I'm going live in a group, so stay tuned to my Facebook page for that on Thursday at 1:30 to talk about how emotions keep you stuck, and I'll be doing live demonstrations on that. So we thank you and are so grateful for each and every one of you that have joined us, and we will see you next time. Have a great week, guys.
bye. Thank you.